Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's national webinar. What a great subject to begin the year with. We're joined by our esteemed NorCal broker, Jeff Green, and one of our very own Allison James agents, Ricardo Jimenez, who will share his insider knowledge as a former Zillow salesperson. Before we begin, we are excited about a few newer highlights here at Allison James Estates and Homes. The first being our coaching program. This is a nationwide program that caters to all levels of production. If you want to be coached by a top producing agent, understand your weaknesses and how to overcome them, and increase your social media and marketing knowledge, this program is for you. Other highlights are Real Estate Tools and Technology Tuesday and Fun Facts Friday, which will feature anything related to the tools AJI offers. Both are live on Facebook. Lastly, please don't hesitate to schedule a one-on-one call with me for all your questions concerning our systems here at Allison James, or if you just need a refresher course on AJI University. You can reach me at support@ajicorporate.com. And without further ado, I will hand the spotlight over to these two gentlemen. Welcome, Jeff and Ricardo.
Hey, thank you, Tracy, and we're super excited about this webinar today. Just give you a little background on why we're doing it and what the purpose is. First of all, one of my jobs as the broker is to support and encourage excellence. When I see excellence in any kind of programs or systems, or more importantly, in the real estate practice of an individual, I zero in on that and I watch it, observe it, and then I promote it so that other people can benefit. And Ricardo Jimenez is one of those agents. I posted, when he joined the company, I posted on Facebook, watch this guy, he's gonna break some records. And he went from pretty much zero to hero in just about 6 months. He started new in real estate. He'd been in real estate before in lending a long time ago, several years ago, and then he went into sales at Zillow and other places. We'll hear about that. But he started with zero business, and he's closed close to 20 deals. And by looking at his production stats and his appointment schedules and all his analytics, which we go into in detail here in the office, he's looking on track to do about 70 deals in 2018. So that's a pretty fast start and a pretty fast ramp up. And he has a really solid base for that with lead gen. So this is something that we can all learn from. We're going to learn what he learned inside of Zillow, what he learned selling there, and what he learned about agents, and how he's going to build his business this year, and how you can learn from it. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give a quick introduction about, we're going to talk about Ricardo's background. This is kind of like a cross between an interview and a presentation. So there's going to be some discussion here between he and I, but a little bit of a presentation from Ricardo. At the end, we're going to save questions till the end. We want you to bring questions. I want to let you know this is not an expose on Zillow or any other lead gen program. This is a positive program to talk about what works and how to make things work in the digital marketing space. So basically, I gave you a little bit of an introduction of Ricardo and what he's done and how he's come into Allison James Estates and Homes. Right now, Ricardo, tell us a little bit about your background and how you end up here, and greet everybody, and let's go.
Cool. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so Ricardo Jimenez. First of all, I just want to say thank you to both Jeff and Allison James for the opportunity just to share today. As Jeff mentioned, I'm here just to share a positive message, hopefully share some good nuggets that will help you enhance your business. I know a lot of folks are advertising online, and online advertising is still a new space. And I know a lot of folks are trying to figure out how to make it work for their business. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm an absolute expert at the whole thing, but I'm confident that we've got some pretty good results from it, and hopefully the few tidbits of information that I share will help you enhance your business in 2018.
Fantastic. Why don't you give us a little background of your career and how you got started, what you did. You worked at Reply.com, Zillow. You generated leads for other agents. You did ISA work as an inside sales associate. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I got started in the real estate industry in 2001. Got started in the mortgage industry. Had some had a quick start, ramped up. By 2003, I started a real estate mortgage company, rode the real estate wave until about 2009, and then got my butt kicked, closed my doors, and began to look for other opportunities. And started my experience with online lead generation with reply.com. It was a online lead generation, real estate lead generation company out of the Bay Area. Got a little bit of experience there. Wasn't a great fit for me at the time. And then an opportunity at Zillow.com not too long after that landed in my lap. And that experience there really opened up my eyes to just a whole nother world of opportunities for real estate agents. So spent a couple years there at Zillow, and during my time there, I quickly discovered that many real estate agents or realtors were missing out on a lot of opportunities. They were spending a lot of money on their online advertising and weren't getting the best return on their investment. So my job there was to work with realtors across the United States, help them purchase online advertising through Zillow, be one of the 3 agents that show up over to the right of each property, and help them convert at a higher rate. So my second year with Zillow, I ended up working, doing some traveling, working with the travel team, and got to meet a lot of agents that were getting some excellent results with their online advertising, and I also met agents that weren't getting the return on the investment that they were looking for. So my experience there kind of helped me see what people were doing right and maybe what agents weren't doing so well. So it was a great experience. I resigned there in 2014 because I saw a need. I had a handful of close friends that were still practicing real estate, that were spending a lot of money on their online advertising, and again, they weren't getting the best results. So I saw a need, and I decided to resign there and start a small boutique marketing company. And a lot of my focus was geared towards following up, building relationships, and converting more of their online leads. So I was working in kind of an ISA capacity, and scheduling appointments for my friends who were advertising online. And so I spent about 3 years doing that, and finally arrived at a point where I decided, hey, it's time to do it for myself, and met Jeff, and yeah, we're crushing it and having a great time doing it.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about lessons from Zillow. You know, there's some lessons that you probably learned with lead generation. I think we might need to move to the next slide, I'm not sure. But lessons about lead generation. I want to talk about good leads versus bad leads. I know you and I have had the conversation about good leads versus bad leads, and you have a very strong reaction to the statement, this is a bad lead. Can you tell us about that?
That's actually one of my biggest pet peeves. It really bothers me when I hear a real estate professional say, this is a crappy lead, or this is a bad lead, or Zillow sucks, or Realtor sucks, or whatever whenever they're not having the best experience with online lead generation. My opinion is every lead, as long as they're giving you a good email address or a good phone number, every lead is a good lead. Every lead is a potential relationship. It's a potential opportunity to build and nurture a relationship. That lead may or may not be ready to buy right now, but if you nurture that lead, if you stay in touch and you build a relationship, build trust, that person may not never buy from you, but if you build a relationship with them, they might refer you their mom, their aunt, their grandma, anyone else that's within their sphere of influence. So I personally don't like the term bad leads. I think they're human beings, they're people, and if we treat them as such, they can be just like our personal sphere of influence.
I totally agree. I mean, just this week, I was sitting earlier this week, I think it was Monday, it was Monday. I was sitting in my living room at about 6 o'clock at night, and I got an alert from my CRM about somebody that wanted to see a property here locally. And I pulled them up, I called them, had a conversation with them, booked the appointment. I looked at my log inside the CRM, and I had never spoken to this person. And as a matter of fact, they had gone dormant for a long time, and they had been in my CRM for 562 days. Wow. 562 days, sitting there And that's an asset. That's a financial asset. That's money. That's a commission that could be earned. And had I said that was a bad lead, or gotten angry about it, or trashed the lead, that would have been a problem. So I think there's a lot to be said about good leads versus bad leads, and the fact that all leads are good leads if they're reachable. So let's talk about lessons about real estate agents. So what you have been able to do is really unique. You've had the 100,000-foot view to see the activities of agents. You've watched as an agent what people do, interacting with them. You were in mortgage, you interacted with agents, but then as somebody who was working with them to acquire internet leads and seeing what they did when they got those leads and what kind of reactions they had to them, you were able to just find out a whole lot about what people think. And we've had some deep conversations about this, but we're going to share this with the group. So the typical agent's attitude about leads and follow-up, what is that? What would you say the typical agent's attitude about leads and follow-up is?
Well, a very common conversation I would have at Zillow, working at Zillow, every day I'd receive a phone call, and I'd receive a phone call from someone saying, I want to cancel my account right now. Cancel this crap. These leads suck. I haven't closed one deal from them. And it's not necessarily that the leads sucked. It was just a lot of folks just don't know what they don't know about building relationships from online lead generation. This is still a very new space. Zillow didn't actually monetize lead generation until 2009. So historically, in the real estate space, it's a very new space. And as real estate agents, we're all super busy. We're out showing homes, taking listings, managing our inspections, or doing all the things it takes for us, all the transactional stuff it takes for us to get a paycheck. So for us to be able to carve out time and dive into the lead generation space and figure it all out, how to make it profitable for us, and go out and buy groceries and take our kids to school, it's a tough thing to do. So so it's still a new space, and I think a lot of folks just haven't taken the time to be able to just dive in and figure it out and make it work.
Yeah, and what I've seen is a lot of agents don't know what to do with those leads. A lot of agents get kind of a set it and forget it mindset, where the lead comes into the system and they think, well, I'm going to call them once, or I'll call them when I get around to it. But that the opportunity to move quickly and to move aggressively is something that agents a lot of times don't take advantage of. So anyway, we're going to keep moving forward with this. So this 100,000-foot view, you have some success stories that you'd like to share about agents using internet leads.
Yeah. Actually, I think I just shared this one with you the other day. I'd mentioned that quite often I would probably every day I get a phone call from an agent that wanted to cancel their Zillow account. But there's one agent in particular. His first name is Leroy. Cool guy. We ended up being good buddies. But every month for the first 6 months of his agreement, I get a phone call. Hey, Ricardo, cancel my account right now. I don't like this. And so probably after his 4th or 5th month into advertising with me, I decided to look into his account. I had him on the phone and pulled up all of his leads, and I noticed he was paying $86 a month. Paying $86 a month, and on average, he was receiving 91 leads a month. 91 leads.
Less than $1 a lead.
Yeah, so from 91 leads from folks that were expressing an interest to buy or sell a home in his marketplace. And so I got a little upset with him, and I said, no, I am not canceling your account, Leroy. Actually, matter of fact, you're going to wait on hold for me, and I'm going to be right back online with a brand new lead, because I had noticed while I was on the phone with him, he had just got a new lead. So I put him on hold, and I called the new lead myself. I got the gal on the line, and then I said, hey, this is Ricardo from Zillow. I noticed you just inquired about 123 Main Street. have you connected with an agent yet? She goes, no, I've been on this thing for a few days and no one has ever called me back. No one's ever called me back. I said, what? I said, hold on a minute. I think I got an agent on the line. Give me 1 second. So I connected that call with Leroy, and sure enough, he was out showing her homes that day. 3 days later, he called me back and said, hey, never mind, don't cancel my account. I just put her into contract.
Wow.
So, so he was averaging 91 leads a month and hadn't converted one transaction. So
wow, that's pretty scary. So we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, how people fail and what they should do a little bit later in our webinar here. But tell us about Isabella.
Isabella was a really cool story. I hold her close to my heart. She was a single mother. Called me up and said, hey, Ricardo, I keep hearing good things about this Zillow thing. I'm a single mom and I literally have like $400 left in my bank account, but I need more business or I'm out of real estate. She said, can you promise me I'm going to get some business? I said, I'm not going to promise you anything, but I will promise that you're going to get some leads, and I will hold your hand and walk you through this, make sure that you're successful with it. And yeah, so she made an investment at about I think it was $280, $280 advertising pack. I held her hand for 7 months and actually grew her account from $280 to $10,400 a month in a matter of like seven months.
Wow.
I think it was January 2014. She closed 11 transactions and did about $180,000 in commissions that month.
Wow.
Yeah, really cool.
Wow. Wow. And then there's another one, Karen, and I happen to know a little bit about her. She's a top producer, and tell what happened with her.
So after Leroy and Isabella, that was right around the time when I was just getting a lot of conviction about making a move from working at Zillow to getting back to starting an ISA business. And Karen happens to be a real close friend of mine. She had a pretty significant ad spend with Zillow, but is again a super busy agent and just did not have the time to manage her leads effectively. So I told her, hey, I'm going to be resigning soon. I want to work your leads. I'll schedule you appointments. I'll schedule you and your team appointments. All you got to do is just show up. All you'll have to do is show up to an approved buyer or to someone that's ready to list their home. I'll do all the follow-up. I'll do everything it takes. And so, long story short, the best year I had with her, she had a GCI of $242,000 that year, extra. So that was just an extra channel of business. She's already a top agent. She already had other marketing channels working well for her, but her lead gen wasn't working so well. So yeah, that year she made an extra $242,000 GCI.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So basically, these stories go to illustrate that online marketing works. They illustrate that there's a lot of misperception on trying to make it work or lack of knowledge. So now we're going to go into the nuts and bolts of the presentation, and let's talk first of all about how to acquire leads. Okay, leads are basically the source of leads is very simple. You either purchase them, you already know them because you have a sphere of influence, or you generate your own leads through prospecting, things like open houses, Facebook, all the different programs that are out there. Can you think of some others that are out there that people use to generate leads?
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia. I think actually most of us on this call have access. Well, you're probably an Allison James agent, and we actually have a tool in our AJI library that I'm really passionate about. It actually generated me a $720,000 listing opportunity this month. So if you haven't used it, I would go into your AJI library and get familiar with agent marketing. Super cool. I think it's a tool that's going to help that distinguishes me amongst my competitors. What we do is I've set up a home search portal for myself in my MLS, right? And of all of the Allison James listings here in my region, and what I do is I take that listing information and I plug it into agent marketing, which will then make me a property website, a photo gallery, and a virtual tour. And I take those links and I post them to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, all of my social media. YouTube, oh yeah, YouTube as well. And we've got some great success just from creating very attractive property websites and stuff. And then I get folks clicking on it. When they arrive there, there's an option for them for consumers to leave their name, email address, and phone number. And yeah, it makes you look cool too.
Great. So as always, Allison James Estates and Homes, I just got to say this, is on a constant quest to improve the tools and resources that are available to our agents, and while at the same time giving them 100% commission. So it's a win-win situation and enables our agents to afford to do some online marketing. So let's move into some discussion on best practices. So first one is response time. Let's talk about that, response time.
Okay, yeah, sure. Response time is critical. I think I'm super passionate about it. I am kind of anal about it, but yes, response time. My goal is to respond to a new lead within 2 minutes. I love making a great first impression. So you know, some people have different philosophy about that, but I think it's super important to get back to folks right away. As a matter of fact, according to a study by InsideSales.com, 47% of all buyer leads were never responded to. The average response time for agents to call online leads is more than 2 days, 61 freaking hours. So to make more money with online leads, the first step is mastering like the fast response time with the phone call. Then incorporating a few other things that we're going to go into here in a bit. An agent actually is 100 times more likely to make contact with an online lead if they call within 5 minutes compared to 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing. In fact, yeah, and most of us probably hope our competition's in that 61-hour category. So that's really, really powerful stuff. So let's talk about follow-up and interaction with leads and clients, and then we're gonna give some resources. We're gonna put these up on the screen. Let's pull up the 10-day handout, and this is a 10-day conversion plan. And I think that you could probably hit that plus button at the bottom and blow that up to full screen if you don't mind. This can be acquired. This document, it's actually a Zillow doc. Is it?
It's a Zillow doc.
It's a Zillow doc. Okay, so you can download this at 10day.allisonjames.info. I'll say that again. 10day.allisonjames.info. Okay, tell us a little bit about this, Ricardo.
Okay, this may sound a little intense, but you know what? Here's my philosophy. I'm a passionate believer that when someone goes to Zillow and gives me their name, email address, and phone number, and then clicks the button that says contact agent, they're giving me permission to contact them.
Absolutely.
So I have no reservation. I mean, they're considering making the biggest purchasing decision of their life. It's a big freaking deal. And consumers, they don't buy homes every day. We sell them every day, but they're a nervous wreck, but they're busy. So I think it's super important to be passionate and plus we spend a lot of money on these leads, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So it's really important for us to make sure we get the most out of it. So I have a very intense 10-day conversion plan. As you can see here on day one, they're immediately getting an intro email. We're actually working on a really cool intro email right now where we're inserting a video. So rather than them getting like a boring text email, when the consumer opens up the email, it's going to be a video of myself saying, "Hey, thanks for contacting me about your home search. Love to work with you. Click on the link below and start searching for homes." So they get an immediate email. I'm calling them back within 2 minutes. If I don't connect, they're getting a text message. And if I still don't connect, I'm setting a task to make an end of day call as well. So that lead is going to be touched a minimum of 4 times the first day that they inquire. Then we go on to day two. Day two, they're getting a follow-up phone call.
Let's scroll down to day two, Tracy, on the conversion plan. Day two.
Yeah, so on day two, they're getting a follow-up phone call. Myself and my staff are searching for them on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever I can connect on social media. And then they're also getting a day two text message. Day three, they're getting a follow-up phone call if we still haven't connected. They're getting an email. Day four, another follow-up phone call. Day five, I'm giving them a break. I'm chilling out. You'll see on the sheet it recommends day five you make a phone call, but I'm kind of chilling out for a day, giving them a chance to breathe. And then from day 6 through day 10, you'll see a combination of email, text message, phone calls until day 10, and then they go into like a nurture follow-up after that.
Okay, great. So one of the things that happens with agents is the concept of task aversion. So agents get a lead and they're averse to the task of following up. And one of the reasons people have task aversion is they don't know what to do. So this is a roadmap for you. You may not agree with every aspect of it. You may not agree, with each point, but the thing that I want to tell you is that you've got to have a plan. If you aim at nothing, the old saying says, you'll hit it every time. So you got to have a plan. It's got to be scripted out. You got to be doing the same thing over and over again, not one plan for one lead, not one plan for another. Of course, when you start talking to them, that's when you customize your follow-up plan. But if you haven't reached them, you've got to have a duplicatable, repeatable process that you can use with your leads. So another thing that comes up with this task aversion is a lot of agents say they look at the time it takes to take a lead from zero to transaction, and they think, well, it's months and months of work and labor. It's not. So just take this. Even if you took this 10-day plan and you added up all the time it took to do every single task on here, that 10-day plan would probably be a total of about 30 minutes of activity, maybe even less. If you follow up with a lead for 6 months and you touch them once a month and you add that all together every 5-minute or 3-minute or 2-minute conversation, and you actually get them out and you start showing them properties or you have a listing presentation, your time investment is the total of those touches, which it may be in many cases under an hour. This guy that I booked an appointment with this weekend, I have about 10 minutes of time invested in him, 10 to 15. So 10-day lead plan. The next one is what we call LP Mama. That's kind of a funny name. So if we can pull up the LP Mama, and Ricardo, if you could break that down for us.
Yeah, so this is a strategy I learned from Zillow. I actually have 2 interns working with me right now. We're starting with our third intern. My daughter's also joining the team. So yeah, so they're younger. They're still learning the real estate jargon and language. So so for a lot of seasoned agents, I mean, this might not be so applicable, but especially for newer agents, I think it's a great guide to conversation and making sure that you're gathering the critical information that you need to dial in your consumer's search or your consumer's experience. So so what LP Mama stands for, the L in LP Mama is location. So when you get on the phone with somebody, again, this is an acronym that just kind of helps guide you. When you get on the phone with somebody, the L stands for location. So you might say, hey, I see the address of the property that you inquired on. What are some of the areas that you're interested in? I noticed you inquired about 123 Main Street in Modesto. Are you open to some of the surrounding areas? So dialing in their search, finding out the location they want to be in. The P in LP Mama is price. So the property in which you inquired is $249,000. So where does that fall in your budget? Is it high? Is it just about right? Is it low? Then you got the motivation. The M in LP Mama is for motivation. Do you need to sell before you buy? If I were to find you your dream home today, are you ready to make an offer now? When are you planning on moving? So getting a gauge on their motivation is super important. Also, the M is, the A is agent. We don't want to spin our wheels as realtors. So it's important to get a good gauge as see if they already have a relationship with another agent, Have they written any offers with any other agents? We don't want to step on anyone's toes. And yeah, we want to make sure we direct them back to their professional, because consumers just don't know what they don't know, right? About the real estate process. They go online and they see all these agents, they start clicking on buttons, and they're talking to a bunch of folks. So getting a good gauge on if they're already working with someone is obviously very important. The other M is mortgage. Hey, which lender are you currently working with? Are you paying cash? Are you already pre-approved? And then finally, the A is an appointment. And here's something that I strongly believe increases my conversion rate, and that's asking for an appointment. I hear a lot of folks say, oh, I'm not going to go out and show homes to someone that's not already approved. But it's very important to meet these folks face to face, even if it's just showing them one home, because they have a lot of options out there. If we don't meet them and solidify our relationship with these online leads, guess what they can do? They can quickly click on the next button and connect with the next agent. They don't owe anything to us.
That's right.
So I think it's super important, if you want to experience a higher conversion rate, do your best to get out there and meet these folks in person and solidify that relationship, because most of us professionals, we're going to know what to say. We're going to know how to charm that consumer, and make it a point to get out there and meet them. I can't express that.
Absolutely. And you might end up establishing a relationship that turns into a nurture lead, or you might get them right away ready to go. But if you don't make that appointment, they're going to be gone.
They will, absolutely. So, the order of the questions, it really doesn't matter. Just get the information. And remember, the goal is just to get a face-to-face appointment. Just get in front of them and solidify that relationship.
Excellent. Okay, somebody asked if they can get a copy of the LP Mama. There is a link. It is lpmama.allisonjames.info. I'll say that again, lpmama.allisonjames.info. So let's talk about what happens next. You go through these steps, the LP Mama steps, and then the next step is to establish credibility. How would an agent establish credibility? They're meeting a total stranger. What do they do?
Okay, so and my interns and everyone that I'm associated with, I'm sure they can attest to this. I am super passionate about developing relationships, developing trust and rapport. Again, these are folks that just meeting them online, they don't know who the heck I am. I could be the top agent in the marketplace, or I could be the brand new agent. They don't know. All they know is how I treat them, and people don't care unless they know how much you care. So I think it's super important to place an emphasis on your lead generation, on building trust and rapport. So successful lead follow-up is all about developing relationships, gauging interest, and providing value as a local real estate expert. So like with a committed, consistent nurturing plan, you can convert a lot more ready to buy or ready to sell prospects and have them in your pipeline throughout the year. So one, I would say, is establishing credibility. Showcasing your credibility creates a connection with your client. It demonstrates dependability, builds rapport. It helps position you as the most valuable resource for real estate information for these consumers. So don't hesitate to demonstrate your expertise. As you discuss real estate with prospective clients, maybe reference your years of experience or special certifications or your years just living in that community, right? Simple tactics like that are going to anchor your opinions with more credibility and value, I believe. Also, you got to differentiate yourself. There's so many competitors out there. You can go on Zillow and see 20, 30 agents advertising in the same zip code, right? So what's going to differentiate you? Definitely make a strong first impression by referencing maybe your professional quality that separates you from every other agent. Like you speak to your negotiations skills, or maybe you're bilingual, or whatever it is. Anything that's going to differentiate you amongst your competitors. And then super important, I think is very important, is to look the part, not only in person, not only the way you dress or whatever, but also your online presence. I don't know about you, but whenever I go online, whenever I go on Amazon or eBay, before I purchase anything online, you know what I do? I check the reviews. I make sure that I'm purchasing from a credible seller. Um, so when you are, especially with your online profiles, like your Zillow profiles, your LinkedIn, your Yelp, whatever it is, make sure that you have a strong presence. Have a nice headshot. Um, have your bio in there. Have a well-written bio. Have your past sales, whatever it is, whatever you need to do to enhance your online presence. Do it, because this is your first and your only opportunity to make a good, strong first impression.
Right. It's like the old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Once you've made that first impression, it's going to stick in their mind. So yeah. What about building rapport?
So building rapport, building relationships. So one of the things I'm working on, training my interns is it's a method that I learned at Zillow as well. I refer to it as the Ford method, F-O-R-D, Ford method. So everyone wants to trust someone who is influencing in important life decisions, right? Like buying a home is a super big life decision. So they want to work with. So developing a relationship with prospective clients helps to build trust and increases the likelihood that they're going to work with you when they're ready to transact, right? So so I do my best to follow the Ford method. So knowing this and referencing this information in future conversations is going to help me to build rapport. So the F in Ford, I mean, this is simple stuff. This is something we all probably naturally do, but this might be more applicable to newer agents or to younger agents. But when I'm talking to someone, I'm always asking about their family. Hey, so are you married? Do you have any kids? Do you have any pets? And I find a way to work that into the conversation. The O in Ford is for occupation. So, hey, what do you do for a living? How long you been in that industry? What company do you work for? R, I get into this a lot. I'm kind of a tall guy. I play basketball, do a lot of sports. So I ask my clients, talk to them about what their hobbies are, what they like to do for fun. And then the D is for dreams. Like, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years from now? That helps me get a gauge as to what their plans are, their real estate plans are maybe as well.
Right.
So I also like to mirror. This is something I think is very important, is mirroring their communication style.
Absolutely, yeah.
And not just the way that they speak if they're in a bad mood, or speak fast, speak slow. Actually, what I mean by that is mirroring the way that they prefer to communicate. This is very important with lead generation. Some folks prefer to pick up the phone and tell you all about their home search. Others might prefer they might be busy all day from 8 to 5, and they can easily text you rather than take a phone call or email. Or a lot of folks are on Facebook all day. So it's much easier to catch them on Facebook. So that's why we use a combination of all those different types of follow-up processes, because I want to mirror the communication style that my consumer prefers. I don't want to force my way upon them. I want to work the way that they prefer. So we try to listen intently, affirm all of the responses, but most importantly, I think just being your freaking self. Just be authentic, be real with them, talk to them like you talk to your own personal sphere of influence.
Great.
Yeah.
So how about providing some value in, what other steps do we have to provide value?
No, I mean, I kind of touched on that already, just being a local market expert. Just share what you are, what you're confident with.
Yeah, there's an easy shortcut to a lot of this. A lot of CRMs and a lot of MLS programs have links to all the school information and local businesses. So, or if you can't find that, just get on Google and search right around there. So we're going to move on now to lead segmentation. So there's a form that we're going to pull up, and you can find this at lead segments, plural, lead segments.allisonjames.info, lead segments.allisonjames.info. So go ahead and break this down for us, Ricardo.
Cool. Hey, so yeah, most in my experience working in Zillow and now, you know, these last few years, like really diving into the lead generation space, what I've discovered is most agents disengage with leads that aren't ready to transact immediately. But definitely, in my opinion, the key to growing your profit margin and getting the most out of your online experience, I think, is to know how to effectively nurture leads that are farther from transacting. All leads are worth actively, you know, working for weeks, months, even years. I recently just closed on a transaction who I met awesome gal 3.5 years ago. Someone I met from my sphere, put her in my follow-up in my CRM, stayed in touch from time to time, and 6 months ago she contacted me. She says, "You are so cool." She's like, you were never a pest, but you just checked in with me from time to time, and when I was ready to sell, I immediately thought of you. So so yeah, I think it's super important to not let those leads go, even though they're not ready to transact now. So
and that can be applied to past clients too. I mean, there's a lot of agents who look up their past client on the internet and find out that they sold their house with somebody else. So that's a painful thing. Staying in contact.
No, absolutely. You know, so lead segmentation to me, it's an important organizational tool. But if you're not managing your follow-up conversations correctly, it's a lot more difficult to build rapport and understand their urgency to transact and ultimately win their business over a competing agent, right?
Right.
So some of the best practices, I guess, are to segment leads by their timeline to transact, their motivation, not mine. So knowing a lead's motivation helps determine, you know, their timeline to buy, sell, or both. So so as you can see on the screen here, you can segment the leads as follows. So an A lead. So this is an individual, obviously, that's ready to buy, sell, or both right now. Their timeline to transact is immediate. They need support. They need support to take the next step in the purchase sale process from you anytime between now and the next 3 months. They want you to help them view properties, discuss the listing strategy, and prepare for transacting. The B lead, this person sees home ownership as their eventual goal in the next year, but they may be in a rental lease, they may be working on a relocation, or simply just maybe lack the knowledge about the process to transact in the immediate 3 months. So their timeline might be like the next 3 to 6 months. Then you got the C leads. C leads, this is an individual that's expressed an interest in buying or selling, but may lack like a definitive plan. Sometimes they just don't know what they don't know, right? So they're uncertain about buying versus renting, or unable to secure financing in the next 6 months. So their timeline is generally 6 months and beyond, 12 months plus. So, and then finally, the D leads. D leads, these are contacts you've never been able to get in touch with, so you can't qualify them as an A, B, or C, right? They could have reached out for more information online, but didn't answer your phone calls. So so that would
scroll that down, Tracy.
That would be a D lead. So
okay, that's not on there. D lead's not on that.
Okay.
Okay, great.
No worries. So definitely tailor your communication by communication plan by segmenting. And then yeah, segmenting your leads based on their timeline to transact allows you to manage your lead database and more importantly, customize your communication based on their readiness to work with you. This way, they're receiving valuable information from you at a frequency that mirrors their motivation.
Excellent.
Yep. A little bit more on the ABCD leads. So an A lead, you definitely want to connect with these folks often. Speak to them at least once a week. Make sure you're emailing them properties to view, and schedule appointments to tour those homes. In general, contact these leads through any channel: phone, text, email, social media, whatever you got. Stay in touch with these folks, because these are the folks that you do not want to lose out on. Then you got your B leads. You want to nurture these leads with regular, maybe automated messages or drip campaigns. Your drip campaigns can include like insider knowledge for buyers and sellers in your market, local listings. But yeah, definitely, I would also prioritize a personal call at least once a month to build rapport, continue to get to know what they're looking for, identify their urgency to buy or sell, and determine the next steps to working with them. The seed leads, these leads are primarily on drip campaigns. You want to be sharing any information that might impact their ability to secure a loan, or give them options for lenders in your area. I'd probably reach out to them at least once per quarter and to check in on their home search. And then, yeah, that way you can determine when they're ready to be moved to an A or B lead. And then a D lead, just keep these folks in your database, subscribe them to a low frequency drip campaign, and definitely reach out to them, give them a personal touch at least a couple of times a year.
All right. Well, Ricardo, do you have any concluding thoughts before we go to questions and answers?
Just love on your leads. Remember my pet peeve, there are no bad leads unless they give you a bad phone number and a bad email address. Love on them. You never know when they're going to come back.
All right. So right now we're going to throw this open to questions. Again, these are going to be questions about building your business. This isn't an expose on Zillow or any kind of company. So do we have any questions? If you have a question, just type it into the chat section. We'll give a couple minutes for people to do that, and we'll be happy to address questions as they come up.
And just so you know, I have been collecting them while you have been so eloquently speaking. So with that being said, let's start these off. And just so you know, too, everybody has been sent links in the chat box or in the question and answer box, but we will be having them in this subject also. You can find this because this is one of our questions on here. They're asking, where can they find this presentation? You will be able to find it on ajiuniversity.com under the Learn tab. It will be there within about 48 hours. Yeah, 48 hours. Okay, and we will also have the links to the forms that he also put up there. Thank you, Ricardo. Our first question we'll start out with will be, let's come up here. Says, so in agent marketing, you set up home-specific websites for AGI listed homes. They are not listed by you. That are not listed by you.
Correct.
Yeah, let me answer that from a broker perspective. So
absolutely.
First of all, marketing of listings happens several different ways. One is through an IDX agreement. IDX stands for Internet Data Exchange, and that's the license that we as a brokerage have with the multiple listing service to be able to advertise any listing in the multiple listing service. Now, for a broker's listing, when an agent lists a property, that listing belongs to the broker. It doesn't belong to the agent. And the reason for that is it's listed under the brokerage's license. The agent, by real estate law, is a sub-agent, and they're marketing the property. But when somebody chooses to list a home with Allison James Estates and Homes, they are doing that under the understanding that there is an army of real estate agents that are prepared to market that listing because they're looking for buyers. So you can take the listings of your fellow agents and you can promote them in any way you desire, as long as you have all the proper Department of Real Estate requirements and compliance issues. So if there are 50 Allison James listings in an area, you can market those using all your web marketing tools that you have, and you can invite buyers to contact you for information on those listings. And it's real easy. You can just say, our team has listed these properties. If you'd like more information, contact me. That's a very simplified expression of them, but you're on the team and you're doing great service to that seller. What seller wouldn't be happy to know that they've got hundreds of additional agents that are marketing properties and getting exposure to that property? And that's the way it should work. That's really the way it should work. So we should be helping each other out. getting these listings sold as quick as possible.
No.
Anything to add to that, Ricardo?
No, absolutely. I'm happy for anyone to market my listing. My job is to get it sold. So
absolutely,
as long as you're part of the team, go for it.
Absolutely. Okay, next we are going to have just a nice little verbiage that somebody had said. They're really coming in right now, guys. Okay, hold on tight. We're going to get going here. Okay, so we had Connie Martin said that you never know how much. Where'd it go? It just disappeared from me. Please forgive me. Where it completely disappeared. That was weird. Here it is. Okay, people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I think that was a good little blurb to put in there. You were discussing, about your leads.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that. Like we're just another agent when you're one of those 3 agents. Like, people don't know who the heck you are. They don't care if you're the top agent or you're the newest agent in town. They care about how you treat them, and they're going to remember that. People always remember how you make them feel. So if you take the time to go out and show them a home, even if they're not qualified, like, they're going to love you. And if they don't buy from you, they're going to remember that, and they're going to refer you their family or friend or whoever.
Absolutely.
So, show love.
We do have another question too. It says, I know what to do with the A leads, but what's the repeatable plan for the B and C lead? This is from Christy Mond.
So the repeatable plan for the
B and C lead.
So that's more of a long-term nurture strategy. We touch them, but not as often. I subscribe to like the Gary Keller.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've read the Millionaire Agent book like dozens of times, and Gary Keller's book, and he really goes into that on how to nurture these long-term leads, and that's kind of the philosophy I subscribe to. So I suggest reading that book. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
long-term nurture strategies to make sure you're not being a pest, but also making sure that you're providing valuable information. So we touch them through a combination of email, text message, phone calls, with a long-term strategy.
And one thing I would add to that is, when you contact people on a long-term basis, make sure you're not just calling them and asking them, would you like to buy a house right now? You can contact them with all kinds of information. We have tons of resources. Like, one of the things I do is I'll give them an app. Hey, would you like to download my app? You ever curious about what a house is for sale for? This particular app that we use, and many MLSs have it, HomeSpotter, you can actually point the app at a house, and the information of the house will pop up on the screen. So when you contact them, make them glad that you called, and give them something of value.
HomeSnap is a great. I use that all the time, actually.
HomeSpotter. This is HomeSpotter.
Yeah, we have HomeSnap down here too. It's very similar.
And that doesn't cost you anything.
Correct.
And it just adds to the value of what you have to offer. So what do we have next?
All we're trying to do is just create top of mind awareness. We want as many of these leads to remember us when they're ready to transact. So
absolutely.
Yeah, another good way to do that is to make them your friend on Facebook and post videos from time to time about what you're doing in real estate.
Yeah, it's definitely all about relationships and building relationships. Next, we have Lillian Marquez asking, what is the best database?
Whatever database works best for you is the best database.
Right.
Whatever you're most comfortable with. I've found that most agents don't even have a database, and wherever you can collect that information and just stay in touch and build relationships, whatever is most comfortable, whatever is most easy for you. There's a handful of them out there. If you want to find me on Facebook, I'll give you a few suggestions. Yeah,
let me make a few comments about that too. There's various databases, they are or CRMs, and they start as low as $35 a month up into several $1,000s. We use here for our group, we use one called Commissions Inc., which that's one in the $1,000 $1,000 plus range per month just for the database. It's in the thousands. So
it's very robust,
but it's super robust. So what you're looking for, here's some things you want to look for. You want to find, at a minimum, a database that you can set reminders to tell you to do things. In other words, you touch a lead, you set a reminder to touch them. And the second thing, you want to be able to log the conversation that you had. What type of conversation was it? What did you say? And what's important to them? You going back to this Ford thing, you may talk to them about their family. Hey, we want to buy our house, but we can't move until my daughter graduates from high school. Okay, great. So that gives you the opportunity to call them in May and say, hey, I'm just calling to touch base and let you know that I was thinking about your plans to move, and I know your daughter's graduating soon. Congratulations in advance. I'll be ready for you as soon as you guys, the dust settles, that type of thing. So you can future pace all your follow-up. Another thing that you want to look for is a database, hopefully, or a CRM if you can find one that's incorporates MLS drip processes. All your MLSs will do drip. You can drip on your clients through the MLS, but what's really helpful is to be able to see what they're looking at, when they're looking at it, and for them to have an immediate response opportunity to get a hold of you so that you can engage them in their property searches.
If I can just kind of piggyback on that as well. I'm super guilty of this. I look back in when I first got started years back. When I can remember one time in particular, I got a phone call. I was driving, and I wrote a lead. Someone referred me. I got a lead, and I wrote it down on a napkin. That napkin ended up in my glove box, and 3 months later, I remembered to call that person back. So that's the value of having a good database. Is one of the things that I strongly suggest is putting that contact's information in a database and setting a reminder task to begin to follow up with them and stay in touch with them.
In other words, there should never be an action taken without a reminder set, ever. Anytime you're dealing with leads. Anybody that's been contacted in your database that doesn't have a reminder, we actually have a filter in our system that filters those out, and it's called the danger bucket. Danger, you're going to lose money. So, okay, great. What other questions do
Okay,
we have?
a few. We're going to need to move through some of these quickly. We have another one asking is everybody seems to be asking about the website again. I am answering it in the next to that where there's a spot for me to respond. So I am doing that online, but again, ajiuniversity.com under the leads tab. Next, we have
the learn tab.
The learn tab. Yeah. What did I say? Sorry.
Leads. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm reading and
trying. Brain. That's good.
I'm reading right now because people are asking where is the best place to find leads, and I think that's going to be similar to what you were just asking about databases. But please take that away.
Best place to find leads.
Mm-hmm. Or to buy leads. I'm sorry, they're asking.
Or to buy leads. You want to touch that?
Oh.
Yeah, best place to buy leads.
Oh, the best place to buy leads. I don't know that there's a best place, but I think leads are leads. They're all human beings. They're all people. They're all potential relationships. I guess what I look for when I'm purchasing leads are I like volume. I'm not necessarily looking for the folks that are just ready to transact right now. I'm looking to build my sphere of influence, not just my family, friends, and the people that know, like, and trust me. I'm looking to get as many people into my database, so I can build a relationship with as many people as I can. So when I look to purchase leads, I'm looking for the company that is going to offer me the most volume.
Yeah, let me say something else about purchasing leads, because I've purchased leads for years and years and years. A lot of agents get into the paralysis of analysis, and the paralysis of analysis is just a long way to say procrastination. They procrastinate on purchasing a lead or buying leads because they're trying to figure out, well, is this the best investment? Well, the best investment is the one that gets you the lead the fastest. And if you sit there and try to vet every program to the nines, you're going to miss out. And here's what happens, because you'll find some lead sources, they'll work better certain times of the year. some will slow down, some will dry up. And if you sit there and overanalyze it, you're not going to be following up on anybody. So what's the next question?
Absolutely. Okay, so next question. How much is the right amount to invest in Zillow? The big brokers invest $3,000 per month for a zip code. If you are not able to pay $3,000 per month, is it worth it to start with a $300 budget per month?
So you should start with the budget that's most comfortable for you. But here's my thoughts on that. You need to be out there. Like, I mean, I'm kind of biased. Obviously I worked at Zillow, but in my opinion, Zillow has the most unique users, the most folks that are looking at homes online more than any other real estate website out there. So I think it's important to have a space there. I personally don't believe in putting all my eggs in one basket anymore. I'm very, very passionate about generating my own leads right now as well. So I might recommend just doing a little bit of a few different platforms, and then investing more in the one that's working best for you, the one that's getting you the best conversion rate.
Okay, we also have. Oh, sorry.
One thing that I would recommend that you do is do some business planning, and that you figure out what is the value of a closed transaction to you. Figure out how many closed transactions you want to have. Some people say, well, 25% or 30% or 40% or 50% of the commission is marketing budget. And if you want to get started, you should invest a lot more at the beginning of your real estate career or in your lead gen process. So if you're just getting started with generating a lead and I'll close a deal out of these leads, you should be willing to say, I'm willing to invest 50% or even more into lead gen of the cost of the result of that commission. The reason why is because this is amortized at the front. You're going to have higher costs at the front because you will be more profitable over long term, because you're going to get repeat business from other people referring you out of your database. You're going to get leads that will mature. So your first batch of leads are going to be your lowest profitability. So figure out how much you can afford and commit to those leads and close them.
Yeah, I have to add something to this. I'm very passionate about this. Like Jeff said, commit to that. Make a commitment. When I have an option, when I'm buying leads, and they say I'm going to give you have an option of a 6-month or a 1 month or a 1 year plan, I always take the 1 year, because you know what, I'm in it to win it. And even if all I do is close one deal the whole year in 12 months, guess what? I'm still going to have a return on my investment, even if I'm spending $300 a month. So, yeah, just stick with it.
Absolutely. Okay, you guys, we have one more, and then we're going to need to go. We have. Okay, I had to take calls. Okay, they're asking about. There's a lot of people just still asking about leads. I think the main important thing that you guys have been saying is do something. Do something. Touch everybody. And as far as, any advice for good responses to emails from your Zillow leads? Why would that? I don't know why that would be any different than a normal
good responses
lead.
to Zillow leads or any leads is always providing value. If somebody's looking to buy a house, and there's two things you want to do. You want to ask questions and provide value. Find out what people want. Are you looking for a house with a pool? You're looking for a house with this, and let them know what you can give them. Hey, you told us you're looking for a house with a pool. Here's 10 houses with a pool. Take a look at these, and then ask them the question. Please tell me what you like and don't like about this, because what you like and don't like are super important to me. It helps me look for things for you, look for houses for you, but always provide value. When you respond, don't just ask. I mean, you got to ask for the business, but if that's all you do, it's a pretty binary relationship. Sometimes people will just look somewhere else.
Kind of on a side note to that, I don't know if it's very specific to that question, but what I'm doing a lot of video right now in my email. With my emails and Facebook. I read an article that just the other day that by 2020, like 90% or 85% of content on Facebook by 2020 is going to be video. Video is where it's at. If you're not already doing video, start doing video. Incorporate that into your emails, your social media, everything that you're doing, do video. If you're scared to do video, be bold, go out there and do it.
Yeah, I know. I want to make just a practical point. If you don't know how to make a video, you can Google how to make a video on Facebook. Just go into Google and put that in there. You can make a Facebook video, and then you can take the link to that Facebook video and you can send that out in your email. And what that does, why that's better than just sending a link to a video, is it allows you to possibly pick them up as a friend or to have them like your business page, and that's a free lead in your database. When they do that, you can talk to them for free forever. So anyway, well, we're super happy to have done this presentation. I'm super thankful to Ricardo for being here.
Absolutely.
And he's a generous guy. He's always helping and supporting other agents, helping encourage people. And myself, I'm committed to doing the same and helping all of you. If you have any questions, you can find, real easy to find us on social media. You can find us on the internet. We're happy to both talk with you.
Hit me up, guys. I'm at www.realestatewithricardo.com, or you'll find me on Facebook all the time. I wish you guys a very prosperous 2018, Allison James family. You guys go out there and crush it.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, I'm going to sign off for this month. Thank you again, Jeff Green and Ricardo Jimenez. I can't wait to hear what you have next to bring to the table, Ricardo. It's great having you aboard. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day.